Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei called on Muslim states to cease oil and food exports to Israel, demanding an end to its bombardment of the Gaza Strip, state media reported. The bombings on Gaza must stop immediately. The path of oil and food exports to the Zionist regime should be stopped, Khamenei said in a speech according to Iranian state media. Israel has vowed to wipe out Tehran-backed Hamas, which rules Gaza, in retaliation for an October 7th attack that killed 1,400 people and saw hundreds taken hostage. Israel has launched an unprecedented bombardment of Gaza and imposed a siege of the enclave. Palestinian authorities say more than 8,000 people have been killed. Iran's clerical rulers have warned Israel of an escalation if it failed to end aggressions against Palestinians, with authorities indicating Tehran-backed proxies in the Middle East were ready to act. Please subscribe for latest update. Also, to understand the present, we must first look at the past. Our journey takes us back to the initial conflicts in the Middle East, a region that has been a hotbed of political and religious tensions for decades. The roots of these conflicts are often deep, complex, and intertwined with a multitude of local, regional, and global interests. The escalation of tensions began with a series of incidents that sparked outrage and concern among Muslim countries. The killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018 was one such incident that strained relations between Saudi Arabia and Turkey. The two countries found themselves on opposing sides, with Turkey supporting Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood, while Saudi Arabia took a different stance. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates and Turkey were also embroiled in a dispute that was impacting both their economies and fueling conflict in the region. This rift was brought about by differing views on the Arab uprisings, the Gulf dispute, and the conflict in Libya. However, recognizing the economic cost of their geopolitical tensions, both countries sought to de-escalate the situation and focus on building economic ties. Amid these simmering tensions, the situation in Gaza took a turn for the worse. Hospitals, often seen as sanctuaries in the midst of conflict, were not spared. The attacks on these healthcare facilities sparked worldwide condemnation and led to a united response from Muslim countries. In response to these attacks, Muslim countries took decisive action. They began to withdraw their support for Israel in the form of oil and food exports. This was not just a symbolic gesture, but a clear statement of their disapproval of the actions taken against the Palestinian people. In the midst of all these, the Turkish Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee was discussing ratifying Sweden's NATO membership bid, a move that could potentially influence the dynamics in the region. And this brings us to the present day, where we see a united front of Muslim countries ceasing oil and food exports to Israel. Now let's look at the boycott in more detail and how it's impacting both Israel and the Muslim countries involved. The decision by Muslim countries to cease oil and food exports to Israel marks a significant turning point in the ongoing conflict. This boycott is not just a political statement, but a direct hit to Israel's economy, which heavily relies on such imports. Yet, it's not a one-sided affair. The Muslim countries involved are also feeling the pinch. Many of these nations have long-standing trade relations with Israel, and the sudden halt may have immediate and lasting economic consequences. The loss of revenue from these exports could potentially destabilize their own economies, leading to a ripple effect in the region. Beyond the involved countries, the boycott has sparked a global response. Many nations are watching closely as they weigh the potential implications of joining the boycott or standing against it. The world is essentially split into two camps: those who sympathize with the plight of the Palestinians and support the boycott, and those who stand with Israel and condemn it. One key aspect to consider is the role of international trade laws. While the boycott is a sovereign decision, it does raise questions about the sanctity of trade agreements and the potential for retaliatory measures. This could potentially lead to a larger trade war, escalating the situation beyond the current state. As we can see, the boycott has significant implications, not just for the countries directly involved, but for the global economy as well. So what have we learned from this situation? We've charted the timeline of events, from the initial provocations to the point where Muslim countries decided to cease oil and food exports to Israel. We've delved into the reasons behind this boycott, which are rooted in the latest attacks on hospitals in Gaza. The potential implications of this decision are far-reaching, impacting not just Israel, but the global community as a whole. We've seen how these events have strained international relations, and how they have the potential to reshape trade dynamics. In particular, we've seen how Turkey and the UAE have been maneuvering to mend ties and de-escalate tensions in the region, while Saudi Arabia has been leading the pack on Gulf détente. But it's not just about the immediate fallout. This situation also serves as a reminder of the profound interconnectedness of our world. An incident in one corner of the globe can send ripples through the international community, affecting relations and trade far beyond the point of origin. As we continue to watch this situation unfold, it's crucial to remember the interconnectedness of our world and the ripple effects that a single event can have on international relations and trade.